But think about this, right? So very recently, I went through the process of getting a mortgage and buying a house, right? That process, I I have pictures somewhere. Like the stack of papers that I had to produce to go and apply for mortgages, no joke, it was about this thick, the amount of papers. Now, this is Eastern Europe, mind you, so it's not that inefficient everywhere in the world. But the process took about 8 months, and there's effectively two big hurdles, right? One is the application and acquisition of the mortgage. And the second thing is the government side of sort of transferring the ownership of the property that you live on, right? That whole thing, and there's still a bunch of trust involved. Like if I wanted to, I could have forged documents that I submitted to the bank. I could have easily faked them, right? Right click, inspect element. Like you log into your bank. Here's a hack, guys. If you wanna fake a screenshot, log into your bank account. Right click on the number, click inspect element, and on the right side, you'll be able to change that number to whatever the hell you want. You can take a screen, right? I could have easily done that. I did not do that because I didn't need to, right? But you see the point I was making here. There is still trust involved. The bank still has to trust that I'm actually submitting real documents. Some of it they can verify, some of it they can't. So digital real estate, I understand. That's kind of like a far-fetched thing that a lot of people don't get. But what if the process of getting a mortgage and buying a house, instead of taking 8 months, could be done in 1 hour? And here, I'll add some more stuff. Because of the way that some people work today, like you and I, where we don't have the traditional, I have an employer, I have a contract, I have a salary, which is what the bank's going to want to see. So I'm limited in that sense, right? I work a little bit differently. I've got consulting clients from all over the world. They're paying me in currencies that is not the local currency in the country that I live in. There's things like that. And so that's a problem for these banks because that's not how they're used to operating. And also, I can't really go outside of the country that I live in to go get a mortgage.
No.
So there are companies today. One of the DeFi projects that I'm really excited about is called Teller. They've officially done the first mortgage in Texas, where I believe it was the decentralized finance organization that actually issued the mortgage. But what this does is, for example, you could open up the entire world. Like for me to go get a mortgage, instead of being limited to the market of the country that I'm in, all of a sudden we could open up the entire world where I could get the mortgage either from some type of organization like a DeFi platform or something like that. But also I could maybe crowdfund it through private people. Maybe I get 50 people in 1 hour to fund my mortgage. And then through a smart contract or something like that, maybe I'm receiving my salary on chain, which is like through one of my consulting clients. I'm actually getting paid like every 6 hours on chain automatically. So there's a public track record of the money that I'm making. So what if through a smart contract, we're distributing the monthly mortgage payment that I'm making, right, to these 50 people? I don't have to lift a finger. My salary comes in on chain, gets distributed to the 50 people. They're making money off of me. And so that's like the mortgage side, right? So I see benefits there, right? We're opening up the entire world and we're making it much faster. And also, which is better for the bank side of things, we're actually removing trust. There's going to be less fraud because it's on chain. And then what about the transfer of the actual deed itself? So that's where I think things are going to take a little bit of time, because now you actually need the governments to work on it. So who knows, man, 15, 20 years maybe from now. But what if the actual land deed of the property that I live on, what if that was also on some sort of government blockchain, and that if I didn't make my mortgage payment, we could, fractionalize the ownership of that. So the actual house and the land deed itself is sort of collateral. And if I don't make my payments, then automatically they receive, through an NFT, fractional ownership of the property that I own, which they can then go sell on the market somehow. I think that's a much more sort of use case that's kind of, people can really relate to, because again, we're taking something that's already being done today, but we're doing it in a slightly better way. Instead of this whole thing taking 8 months and being a huge pain in the ass, we got it down to 1 hour. We removed trust from the equation. and everybody's happy. And we also open up the entire world for me to go get a mortgage, right? Because I don't work in the traditional way that most people work. How can you have a problem with that, right? Like that's better for literally everybody involved.
Yeah. There's endless options. For me, I look at it for the finance side of things, like having full ownership of your finances, because at the moment, what do you do with your money? You put it with a third party in a bank, and you make minimal interest.
Can be confiscated too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, there's been situations with crypto where a lot of these centralized entities have come in, and we saw it with the likes of Celsius, Voyager, where they've been perceived as being credible for the people, and behind the people's backs, they were effectively
probably all in on Luna or something along those lines.
Exactly.
But yes. But the point I think you're touching on here is that, that's the centralized exchange, right? Which we have in crypto too. But at least now we have the option to be a sovereign individual who is in control, where I have a hardware wallet and I'm in full control of my own property and currency.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with I've not looked into it too much, but with Ethereum 2.0, being able to stake and be your own validator is an option now. But yeah, you need to do your due diligence, with these things. If you're being fully responsible for your own finances, and you're not using any centralized or third party exchange, then you need to know what you're doing. I think that's the thing. It's the barrier at the moment, the barrier to entry, or like kind of the education barrier is high. Like, it takes to just to even understand what the space is about, because it's constantly evolving, is challenging. So for the the average person who has no experience in it, it's difficult to navigate. So I think in order to, we need to be able to simplify these things down so that the adoption can be, faster in that respect. But
100%.
I think these things will come, as the next, more applications are coming on that are more user friendly. And I think over time that will help. So
look, I think there's a reason that there's a fraction of the population that has gone into crypto already. And it's not necessarily, I think, because it's solving some kind of pressing issue for them today. I think it's more because we are people who are excited about what's going to come, right? We can see the vision. And so we're more here from a hope angle. We're like, hey, I see where this is going. I'd like to be a part of this. There's probably financial upside if I get in earlier, that sort of thing. I think if you're talking about, let's say, mass adoption, I think that's going to really come from use cases, right? Where it's solving some kind of problem that somebody has, and it's done in a way where you don't need to give a shit about whether it's Web3 or Web2, or like, you don't need to understand any of it. It's just, all you know is, I have a problem. This platform, this product solves my problem for me. How do I use it? And from there, that will get more and more people to adopt it. So again, if let's say that mortgage example that I gave, let's say that existed right now, both on the mortgage side and the transfer of the deed side. So if you were going in to go buy a house, if you had two options, like, hey, you can go this way. It's going to take you 8 months. It's going to be a lot of back and forth with whatever your financial advisor. You're going to print 100 documents, blah, 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 blah. Or you could just send it an application here. Just show proof of income, like show all the same things. It's going to take about, you'll have the house tomorrow. Then it's like, well, I'd probably go with that option, right? Like if the outcome is the same, let's just say for argument's sake, why would I go with the old way? It's like, it doesn't make any sense, right? So it's going to come from use cases, 100%, solving an actual problem.